Hello, Jason. It's Monday, May 5th, and this was the scene outside of my house when I got out of the shower. As it turns out, a gas line had ruptured, which means I didn't really get much done because I had to stay indoors. I want to start off today by 100% agreeing with your selection for last week's Badass Mother Friday. Adam Silver definitely deserves the distinction. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find any sane person who disagrees with this decision. I mean, racism is something that, quite frankly, we don't think should even happen anymore. Being presented with racism to the degree that we were, not only in the NBA but also in the NHL, is a really jarring experience, especially for someone who, quite frankly, can't understand how people can think in those ways. And while Sterling's racist remarks didn't necessarily register with me personally, the ones against Montreal Canadiens player PK Subban on Twitter definitely did. After all, Subban is a fellow Canadian, and while he didn't get any ice time during the Olympics, he was part of the Canadian gold medal winning Olympic hockey team. And so I find it particularly disturbing that people would oppose him just because he scored a winning goal in a hockey game, and they would choose to attack him for his race, rather than his ability to play. Because at the end of the day, attacking him for his ability to play would only humiliate the team that lost even more. Which, as a small measure of solace, I believe is the only reason that race was brought up in the first place, because these immature people had nothing else to attack him for. And this is where the Twitter attacks on PK Subban differ from Sterling's remarks, because I believe that the people on Twitter were attacking out of immaturity and the inability to attack for anything else. Whereas Sterling's racism clearly comes from a place of sincerely held belief, which is one of the more disturbing things to think about when considering racism today. So with that topic in mind, let's lighten the mood a little bit. Following their city's Game 1 win, Montreal decided that they were going to fight back against Boston in any way they could. And rather than trying to describe how they did so, I'll just show you a picture. Awesome. And really quickly, I just want to say that this second round of the NHL playoffs is proving to be a really interesting one indeed. While it's still a little bit early to start calling out trends, I think that this round is going to provide a lot of excitement, just as we both predicted. The next thing I want to talk about is motivation, specifically ways to keep myself motivated towards achieving my goals in this project. As you've no doubt noticed, my reading habits have hit a sharp decline in the recent month or so. And while my running habits have definitely picked up since the end of winter, they're still not at the point that they need to be if I'm going to finish this goal on time. Moreover, the only progress I've made in my writing challenge has been in the first couple of weeks of this project, and I really need to start picking up on that if I'm ever going to sell a novel and become a rich and famous internationally known author. And so I've decided that the best way to motivate myself is with an economy of beneficial and detrimental behaviors. I will give credit where credit is due. This wasn't entirely my idea. I borrowed heavily from Dimitri Martin in his stand-up comedy special, If I, which you should totally check out if you have the time. It's really intelligent and really hilarious. In the special, he talks about a period of his life where he documented everything he did in an attempt to improve himself. He developed a system, which he called the point system, which awarded points for specific actions during the day. And at the end of the week, he would add up his points from each day into an overall score. The idea was that his improvement in specific areas of his life could be charted over time, and he could call that progress. But, being a perfectionist, he wasn't able to settle on one formula for developing his system. And rather than building meaningful data over time, he ended up changing the point system over and over again to suit his lifestyle as it was to begin with. And so I've built a different system that doesn't just focus on positive behaviors, but also negative ones, or distracting ones. Basically, how my system will work is that beneficial behaviors will have rewards in the form of currency. And at the same time, detrimental behaviors, like the ones that I've been using to procrastinate, will cost currency. The idea then is to encourage myself to perform enough beneficial activities to earn the privilege of performing the detrimental activities that I've been allowing myself free rein over the past few weeks, if not months. And the reason that I call it an economy rather than a simple barter system is that the value of certain activities can change over time. For example, if I find that I'm earning enough money to spend a significant amount of time playing video games, I can make video game playing more expensive. Or, if I find myself repeating the same beneficial action over and over again because it pays out well, I can make it pay out less well. And thus, the system isn't simply a do this, get that reward system. It's more of, like I said, an economy. So I'll let you know how that turns out over the coming weeks. And now, on to Battleship. Your shot at B10 was a miss. You really gotta pick up your game there, Jason. And I'm gonna bank on the mind's subliminal desire for symmetry and attack G2. which just leaves the tri-language word of the day, which, in honor of the fire trucks that were in front of my house when I got out of the shower, is going to be fire. And so without further ado, the French for fire is feu. The Italian is fuoco. And the German actually makes me sound like I'm from Boston, because it's Feuer.